After all the hype and anticipation, Shang-Chi finally hit the multiplexes. The result? Even COVID didn't stop people from coming to the theater.
It was very refreshing, very different.
It's one of my favorite Marvel movies.
The idea of putting an Asian face as the hero in a Marvel story is definitely going to open people's eyes.
I like how it showed a lot about Chinese culture.
Also the introduction of Wuxia, the martial hero genre from China. I still think it's largely responsible for this notion of heroism that we have.
The movie has a golden opportunity to rewrite the narrative around Asian masculinity.
Traditional stereotype of Asian men has been docile, meek, the perpetual foreigner.
But is this really a cultural watershed moment, or more of a marketing opportunity to ensure profit for Disney's shareholders? Time to buckle up. Let's dive in. First, a little history. Asian men have been emasculated since their arrival here in America in the 1850s. When movies were introduced, one of the first stars and leading man, Setsu Hayakawa, was Asian. It went downhill fast after that. Hollywood was complicit in the embarrassing whitewashing and allowing a cultural icon to be the butt of the joke.
He barely touched me. I think that dent in the car says something different.
Kind of depiction, ingrained in how people see Asian men. And I think it's also impacted how Asian American men see themselves.
They end up having Caucasian people play Asian people in certain movies. Yeah. And it's sort of like, why would you do that?
And all the first auditions and parts that I ever got were Chinese delivery boy. I did a bunch of Jay Leno sketch comedy pieces where I was always the butt of a joke as an Asian person. So when mainstream media only shows you this much, mainstream audiences then over generations think, oh, this is all they are. Thank you, Hollywood, for doing that to us, right?
Of the top 1,300 films from 2007 to 2019, only 44 had an API lead or co-lead. 14 of the films starred Dwayne Johnson. This was a chance to stand up, be noticed, and change the game. So how did Shang-Chi do? Warning, there will be spoilers. Shang-Chi is younger and more relatable. An everyman with nice abs.
The actor was super ripped. Sorry, my husband's over there. He was very attractive.
Is this what you wanted?
The movie beautifully displayed cultural homages to Chinese mythology, culture, and growing up Asian American. Yet unlike other Marvel superheroes, he didn't get to kiss the girl.
This is an opportunity to showcase Asian American men in a different light. A study by OkCupid, African American women and Asian American men had the least amount of likes.
They decided to cast the breakout star from Crazy Rich Asians, Awkwafina. They created the Katie character to be a sidekick, a best friend.
My name's Gina. I'm gonna go into hiding. My new name's Gina.
They didn't pair him with any other, I would call, starlet type. They wrote this movie from scratch. So they could have put him with anybody, but they chose a comedian. It's another way of saying, well, you guys don't really get the girl, really.
I got it.
In another move, Marvel movies always show support of the Me Too movement. Shang-Chi's sister is the resident badass who knows how to throw a punch. The motive here is to ensure success. Cast a popular, known comedian and surround Shang-Chi with strong female characters. Because they want to appeal to everyone. That strategy is known as the 4 quadrants. All men, women, young, old. Put butts in seats. With all that hype, you were made to feel guilty or ashamed if you didn't like or support the movie.
It's nice that it's getting some recognition as being an important cultural moment, even though it's being shoved up our butt.
That's marketing. And they've done it before. Remember Black Panther? That buzz was all about the first Black African superhero. But it wasn't. That distinction goes to Blade, released in 1998. But Shang-Chi is the first Asian Marvel superhero.
I wasn't aware that it was the first time. Are you talking about just with Marvel or in general?
She's right. Wong was introduced in Doctor Strange as a master of the mystical arts.
Wong, you're invited to my wedding.
And before Wong, in 1994, another movie studio made The Crow, starring Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. Overseas, there have been plenty of Asian men in lead action hero-type roles, and they are legendary. Some of those stars also crossed over to America. All this before there was a Marvel movie universe. Snake Eyes was released 1 month before Shang-Chi and had a bigger star in Henry Golding alongside another Asian actor. It's in the same action hero genre, but did not get the same attention. That's the power of marketing. Outside the mainstream, Asian men do play the lead in smaller movies without the same type of marketing hype.
I think there's been a lot, both in TV and in film, about The Big Sick, Minari, Warrior, that's a great TV series, John Cho's Searching.
And yes, they got to kiss the girl. Besides being a Marvel movie with Asian characters, was there any big cultural message? Black Panther depicted an African nation as futuristic and modern. Killmonger makes a bold comment on white colonialism.
These items aren't for sale.
How do you think your ancestors got these? You think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it like they took everything else?
In the original comic, Shang-Chi's father is the racist Fu Manchu. That is glossed over, never addressed, so none of the audiences will know of the dark history of what that character represents. Remember Shang-Chi's sister? He goes through extensive training while she learns in the shadows. When they have their fight, she kicks his butt. Great for female empowerment.
You're like such a badass.
Not great for Asian men who are still fighting an uphill battle of being perceived as inferior, meek, docile.
Moving images, media, motion picture, film, television. This is how people perceive or learn about other cultures and people. This is where stereotypes are formed, good or bad.
There are more Asians in high executive roles in entertainment who can push for stronger, original, diverse roles.
What the lens of Hollywood has traditionally done has just been very narrow. It doesn't pull back and show you the wider picture of how vibrant and how different our community is.
A lot of actors want characters with depth. That's when you show the more well-roundedness of our community.
Because male masculinity is evolving. We as an audience are also evolving.
I think I am encouraged to say that it's not only changing because of film, but also because of just culture in general. I think people are more open about understanding what sexuality means and what masculinity means.
Because I think that the Western world's masculinity leads to toxic masculinity. The world is becoming more feminine and more gender fluid. I think that's a positive thing.
You don't have to be muscular to be masculine. As a community, we don't have to take that. We can represent strength, character, all the hero characteristics is what's more important, not how you look.
Despite shortcomings, Marvel's Shang-Chi is part of pop culture and has created a platform for conversation.
I'm excited for any wins that we get. There has been a lot of improvement from a lot of different elements. There's still a lot of room to grow.
You could watch the movie, you could not watch the movie. It's important that you have your say in what you want. Media does matter, so we have a power. We just have to start using it.
Now it's up to the Asian community to use its power to speak up and be heard.
It had the potential to go so much more, and of course it's going to be limited by who Marvel is. But I don't have those limitations, and we don't have it, so.
Anytime you'd see an Asian American on screen, you would go, oh my God, there's an Asian person on television or film, because it was so seldomly seen. So I always had this thing in my head where I was like, you know what, I wish I could be part of that change, that I wanted to do something about it.
For more information, please visit 1990institute.org. Like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.